Welcome to Yoga for Bones. My name's Diana McNeil. I'm a BoneFit trained movement educator in downtown Toronto. I'm also trained with the Melio guide, and I'm a very proud volunteer with Osteoporosis Canada. This practice is for everybody, but especially those who are dealing with bone density issues such as osteopenia or osteoporosis. Yoga has been shown in studies to help stimulate bone growth because of its body-weighted nature. It's a great addition to your strength training practice as well as your aerobic cardiovascular practice. Enjoy this short practice today in which I will provide you with cues for spine-sparing movements, helping to reduce your risk of fracture. Please have handy today a chair. My preference is to have two of the legs of the chair on my yoga mat. I'll have 2 blankets or 2 towels, something to use for a yoga strap. You can even use a belt or something from your house coat or robe, and of course that chair with no wheels. Please know your fracture risk assessment before joining me today. And also, if you're new to exercise, please check with your primary healthcare provider to ensure that this is safe for you. I want you to come to your mat now, standing in mountain pose. This practice is an invitation, truthfully, to feel your body, to feel what is moving, and connecting your movements with your body with your natural breath. So join me with your feet pelvis width apart, underneath your pelvis, toes pointed straight ahead, shoulders nice and proud. Think about wearing a necklace and you just want to show everybody that beautiful necklace as you tuck your chin in and lengthen through crown of head. For a moment here, just stand with your eyes softly closed and take a couple of deep breaths. Sensing and feeling how you came to your mat today, how you came to your practice. If there's an opportunity here to let go of anything that has come to your mat that's not necessary, perhaps it's a little bit of stress or a little bit of anxiety if you're new to yoga and you're trying to figure out if this is the right practice for you here, just let that go. Additionally, I invite you to let go of what you expect your body to achieve in this practice. This is not what we're here for today. We're here to just feel our body move in connection with our breath and to find a little bit of gratitude for everything that your body is able to do for you each and every day. When you feel ready, open your eyes. Think about maintaining this nice tall spine, ribcage lifted off of pelvis throughout your practice as you slowly float your arms up in front of your body. And then release them back down by your side. And as you move with your breath, think about what's moving. We want the arm bones to move in the socket, less movement in the spine. So if you find that when you elevate your arms, your spine starts to extend, then your job here, truthfully, is to try and maintain that neutral posture. So again, if your back starts to arch as you take your arms higher and higher, then again, can you keep your awareness in that movement and perhaps just keep your arms visible on your periphery. The next time, float them up and just release them down by your side. That's it, nice and easy. Inhale, float up. Maybe thinking about exhaling as the arms land down by your body. We'll do 2 more times like that. Inhale. And exhale. Good, that's it. Last time, inhale. And exhale, taking your hands to your pelvis. Turning to the side here, I want you to think about what is moving in this next posture. With your knees soft, send your pelvis back and try to maintain this nice long spine. As you ground into the feet equally and evenly, slowly stand back upright. Continuing on, can you draw those elbows into backspace? Imagine there's magnets in between your elbows, and as you hinge forward, those elbows continue to hug backwards. Trying to keep those shoulders on your back and resisting the spine rounding. So I'll demonstrate what that would look like if I let my body collapse. So we're trying to maintain this nice lengthen through the spine and simply feel the movement in through the pelvis. Good, we'll go for 3. Waking up the hamstrings and the glutes here. Keeping those knees nice and soft for 2. Good, and last last one. Beautiful. Step forward with your right leg. So you're in a split stance with your left leg behind your body. Bend both knees softly to maintain this best posture here. So shoulders right on top of the pelvis. Squeezing through that left glute. So if that left leg is back behind you, you want to engage slightly through that back leg and push that front hip slightly forward. Starting with one hand on the back of the chair, reach one arm up overhead. And again, remember we're doing our best not to extend through spine. And then when you're feeling ready, take the other arm and float it upright. You're always welcome to keep one hand on the chair. Take a breath or two here. Keep those legs hugging in towards each other and pushing that left hip slightly forward. Reaching up through the fingertips, just inviting that length in through that spine. And then releasing both hands to the back of the chair. See if you can straighten both legs. You might need to step that back foot slightly forward. Hips continue to face forward as you hinge from your hip crease. And then come into a flat back position for pyramid pose. Keep pressing hands into the top of the chair. And take a couple of breaths here. If you need to put a slight bend in your front knee, go ahead and do so. Nice and easy here, feeling that length in through the back line of the body. Good, bending both knees softly, slowly come upright and switch legs, taking your left foot forward and your right leg back. Once again, bend both knees. Squeeze your right seat and push your right hip slightly forward. And then again, if you're feeling confident in your balance, remember you're not on a balance beam here. Your feet are parallel, hip width apart, like in a train track here. Reach one arm up overhead, keeping the rib cage tucked in right over the pelvis. And then if you're feeling fine here, reach the other arm out. So practicing our balance is really important every single day. You'll get lots of that in today's short practice. Remember taking an opportunity to take a break if you need it, or even have a sip of water is totally fine. Take both hands to the back of the chair, straighten the legs to the best of your ability, and remember, root down into that tripod of your foot, big toe mound, pinky toe mound, and center of heel, and then see how far you can go, right? You might notice you can go deeper on one side than the next. Again, we're just inviting awareness, exploring what our body is doing in space, and seeing if we can connect that with a nice easy breath. Take a couple of breaths here. Good, and bending through that front knee, step your feet together and come back to parallel stance. Relax those shoulders, maybe give them a couple of easy rolls. As you slowly step your feet slightly wider apart. I'm going to say about 3 feet is a good place to start. If you need to make it slightly narrow, go ahead. Keeping that spine nice and tall. We're just going to bend in through one knee and then shift the body weight to the other side. So side to side, just getting a little bit of movement in our ankles and our knees and our hips. Keeping that spine nice and elongated. Good. Getting a little bit of movement here, and then standing upright. I want you to lift your left foot up and pivot that foot away from the body. And notice here the pelvis is moving, right? As your pelvis moves, I want your shoulders to move with it. So resist the urge to have your shoulders facing forward and your pelvis twisted to one side. Nice long spine, hips and shoulders always facing the same way. Good, and then bend that front knee. Good, and straighten it. So we're just gonna go in and out of the posture. Maybe thinking about syncing the movement with the breath. Good. Perfect. One more time. The next time you bend that front knee, take one arm out in front. Keep that knee bent and stretch the opposite arm away from the body. Remember, shoulders and hips facing same direction. So it might feel like a great stretch for that back arm. If you need to place that hand on your hip, go ahead and do so. And gaze softly over front fingertips. Keep elongating the spine. Lengthen, lengthen, lengthen. Good. Release your hands to your pelvis. Straighten through your front leg. Lift your forefoot and parallel your feet, taking your hands to heart center. Shift the weight into that left knee. Send the tailbone back and then side to side. Relax shoulders away from ears. Good. Nice and easy here. 3 and 2. 1, and straighten both legs and come back upright, taking your hands to your hips, lifting your right forefoot, spinning that leg bone in the socket, and again, let the pelvis go with that leg, let the shoulders go with the pelvis. So again, nice lengthened spine, bending and straightening that right knee. Good. Nice and easy. If any of this causes discomfort, you're going to lessen the angle at which you bend that knee, trying to keep that knee tracking over the toes. Yeah, so don't let that knee collapse inwards. 2 and 1. Good. Feel that nice broadness through the pelvis. Keep those shoulders stacked over the hips and gaze over your right fingertips, stretching those arms away. Lifting torso upright. One more deep breath here. You're doing great. Good. And then take your hands to your pelvis. Straighten your front leg. Lift the forefoot. Pivot. And then heel toe your legs together. Nice job. Once again, feet or pelvis width apart. This time we're going to return back. So remember what I discussed at the beginning of our practice, how yoga can be really helpful for building bone density and stimulating bone growth. We're going to add a little unique movement to our mountain posture today, keeping those knees soft. We're going to elevate those heels up. And then when you feel ready, you're going to gently, softly drop those knees down to the ground, or those heels rather, to the ground. So come on up onto your toe ball mounds and then softly drop through the heels. If this causes any discomfort, perhaps you have a herniated disc or something that I'm unaware of course, you're going to maybe skip this movement. But if it feels okay, just let those heels drop. Knowing your fracture risk assessment, if you're a high risk category, you maybe want to softly land. If you have osteopenia, you can give it a little bit more oomph in that heel drop. We'll go for 3. Good, and 2. Good, and 1. Perfect, and then from this position, once again, I'll turn to face you, bringing your toes and heels together, have that chair handy. Again, we're going to spin this right leg bone in the socket. The goal here is to keep those hip bones and shoulders facing in the same direction throughout this practice. So keeping those toes on the ground at first. If you're feeling comfortable, lift the rib cage right off of the pelvis. Take those hands to heart center and see if you can balance here, really focusing on that standing leg hip pulling into the body. So feeling that slight squeeze in through the seat, and then if you're able, you can challenge yourself over a period of time to lift that toe off of the mat, but all the while, try not to let the body spin out towards that leg, yes? So we're keeping hips facing forward, maybe thinking of eyes on the horizon, on a steady gaze out in front of you. And then for those of you who are feeling really confident today, we'll see, reach one arm up. And then the other, finding your tree posture, really grounding down through that standing leg. Oh, really challenging, but you're doing great. Breathe here. Good, and anytime you need that support, always have it handy. Hands back to heart center. Hands to the chair, and then release those feet. Shake out those legs a little bit as we move on to tree posture on the other standing leg. Toes and heels together, hips facing forward. If it's helpful to take your hands as a tactile feedback to the pelvis to make sure it doesn't twist, you can spin that left leg bone in the socket. See how far it goes without the pelvis wanting to go with it. Ground into your right leg. Take your toes to the floor, heel to the leg, and pull that right hip into center. Good, and then again, if you're feeling really strong and confident, or maybe you're just working towards it, yes? And then hands to heart center. Nice, easy breath. Feeling strong and confident, knowing that you're doing some wonderful things, not just for your bones, but for your mind, for your body, for your spirit, reaching those arms up. See how tall you can get. Reaching, reaching, reaching. Good. Hands come down to heart center. Feet once again return back to the mat. Good, nice job everybody. We're gonna return that chair back to its original position. Have it handy though, because it can be helpful in getting up and down from the ground. You will need your towels, 2 towels or blankets, and something to use for a strap for this next practice. Next part of our practice rather. So once again, holding onto the chair. A nice safe way to get down onto your back is you can come into a little bit of a low lunge on one leg and then the other. Remember, if you need to move over to a sofa or onto a bed to get the next part of your practice in, feel free to do that. I'm just going to move that chair out of the way as I demonstrate the safest practice for getting down onto your back. We're going to have 1 towel for the base of the skull. And that is simply so that we're having our chin flush with the ceiling. We never want to lie on our back with our chin jutting upwards towards the ceiling. The second towel is going to be very slight, and that's why I recommend maybe even a dish towel. Depending on the curvature of your low back, we want to try and support that curve by using a small towel underneath our back. So it's going to be dependent. We never want to feel like it's invading our space. We just want to feel like it's gently supporting our body. From this position, you're going to lie on your hip and slide the arm that's closest to the mat away from your body as you come into a side lying position. From here, with both knees bent, you're going to transition onto your back. And again, really gentle here. We're just lying on our back, trying to find that best position. So just take that moment. Again, find that gentle support of the lumbar curve. And again, it mimics the curve of the back of the neck. Yeah, so we never want to flatten our neck onto the mat. Take that moment and pause. Find that tripod of the foot here. Take a few deep breaths. We want to see what feels heavy here. Base of the skull, rib cage and pelvis stay really heavy here. Turning palms up towards the sky. And just do a little bit of a check here. We're going to do a head press here. So I want you to think about gently pressing the base of the skull into the mat. And then slowly releasing that. And then again, press the base of the skull into the mat. You'll feel your chin slightly tuck in. And release. And then one more time, gently press the base of the skull into the mat. And release. Nice job. From here, trying to maintain that nice lumbar curve, you're simply going to take your strap as you draw one leg in close to the body. Taking the strap behind that leg, I have my right leg pulled into my body. I'm going to attempt to straighten my leg. Now, listen carefully here. A lot of people are really keen on pulling your thigh close to your belly. And when we do that, the tendency will be to flatten our low back. So the name of the game here is push your thigh or your leg bone into your strap, okay? And see if you can straighten that leg to the best of your ability. Reach your heel up to the sky, anchor through that tailbone, and take a couple of breaths here, keeping that chin nicely tucked in. Maybe even explore a little foot range of motion by spreading those toes out. We're attempting to straighten the leg, but if there's any shaking involved, I want you to just decrease that straight leg and try and find a little micro bend so that there's no shaking. Breaths here. Beautiful. Bend that knee. Give the leg a little bit of a shake, and let's go on to the other leg. So pull your opposite thigh in towards your chest, taking whatever you're using for your strap in both hands, and push your leg bone into the strap as you slowly start to straighten this leg out. Take a couple of breaths here, reaching through that heel, anchoring through that tailbone, and just breathing here. Seeing how feeling on the ground, how it feels here, to be supported, to be resting, getting a lovely stretch in through the back line of that left leg. Good. And at the end of your next exhalation, bend your knee, remove the strap. We're going to move that out of the way, maintain this support, but this time I want you to let your knees connect with each other. So widen your feet as wide as the mat. Turn your palms upwards. Take a couple of moments here for yourself, knowing that you've done some really great work. Feel that energy in through your body. Feel the base of the skull, the ribs and pelvis. So this practice of yoga is less about achieving a certain posture or looking a certain way. It's about moving here with your breath and seeing how it all makes you feel. The moment when you let go of the expectations of your body is truly when you'll find your best practice. Every time you come to your mat, just let go what you think your body is able to do. And just enjoy this next inhale and exhale. Feel free to stay in this posture for as long as you're comfortable. As we come out of our resting pose, we're going to reach one arm up overhead, parallel your feet once again. So place your feet pelvis width apart. Turn to the side of the extended arm and take the top arm in front of your chest. When you're ready, gently press yourself upright. Come to a seated position. Thank you so much for joining me here today in Yoga for Bones. Please reach out to myself, Diana McNeil, at Mindful Movement RX. That's www.mindfulmovement-rx.ca. I'd love to hear from you. Enjoy your day, everyone.